Hi, everyone. This is Meredith Root, and welcome to the Afternoon Snack Podcast, brought to you by Tactic Nutrition.
Hi, I'm Alex Parker, owner of Tactic Nutrition, former lawyer, CrossFit Games athlete, turned health and fitness geek.
I'm also into health and nutrition, a more recent CrossFit Games athlete, co-owner of Tactic Nutrition, and former engineer. We are here to have fun, engaging conversation about some of our favorite topics, including nutrition, health, coaching, motivation, and of course, CrossFit.
Our goal is to give you something to think and talk about and hopefully make you laugh along the way.
Hi, Alex.
Hi.
It's been a while since we've done one of these.
Yeah, it's been a busy couple of months. How long has it been? 2 months?
I was going to say, no, we did one middle of December.
Right.
So a month and some change.
We did one right before we moved.
Yeah. So like big update. We're in a new house. We have a podcast room that we're sitting in. It's not really a podcast room. It's a bedroom with a desk. But like my ultimate goal is to have it be like, you know, some sitting chairs, like a lamp, like somewhere where we can really like hang out and have some good conversations. But right now it's our spare desk and 2 office chairs. So we're getting there.
Works for me.
Yeah, it's good. So, yeah, our life got kind of crazy there right before Christmas.
Yeah. Well, the move was big.
Yeah.
And then we moved ourselves, which was a big effort.
Well, it was and wasn't. So we moved from kind of central Calgary, so downtown, to the west. So it's about 15 minutes west of where we were living. And the crazy thing is, how long did it take us to like start to finish? It was only like 5 hours.
Yeah.
Which is actually insane.
But we've moved so many times before. We've moved 3 times, I think.
Yeah. The best part is when your mom comes to help and she's just like, wow, you guys are so good at this. Because like we really are.
Yeah. And she's all, at one point she's like, if tactic fails, you know, you got a good fallback.
Moving. It's good. I think moving's a good like test of your relationship.
It is.
Yeah.
We can't order sushi without getting in a fight, but we can move an entire house.
Yeah. And like we communicate well with nonverbals. Like you watch what I do,
Yeah.
I watch what you do. I don't accidentally push you down the stairs.
No, we haven't. I don't think we've gotten into one fight while moving.
No, but I think it's also because we both just want to be done with it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. It's like, let's get this over with because I hate it.
Yeah.
But we did save quite a bit of money and I think quite a bit of time doing it that way. And it's like, what do you work out for if you can't move your own house?
Yeah.
So, but that's good. We have a nice big house now. We have no furniture. We have like a living room couch. We have our bed. We have like a
mattress and box springs.
Yeah, we don't have like a bed frame and a very laughably small kitchen table. But we have the new couches on the way, kitchen table, TBD, but most importantly,
our gym is done. So we had this, when we were looking for houses, the basement gym was a big, like it had to happen.
Well, we would walk into a house and literally the first thing, like our realtor started to understand, the first light he would turn on would be the light down the hallway to the basement because that was the first thing that we were going to look at.
It's important. Like if it's not going to work out. So we originally put an offer on a house that had a basement that in order to make into a home gym, we would have to have knocked down a wall and like ripped the carpets up. The ceiling wasn't very high because it was a finished basement and it had like a nice fireplace and stuff.
It was like a nice basement.
But we were like, we can make it work. But then we didn't end up getting that house, which was probably for the best because when we found the house that we're currently in, it had this huge unfinished basement.
With like huge tall ceilings, which is a very unusual feature.
Yeah, unfinished and everything. And so I was like, when I was calculating like the cost of things, like when we were moving, because Meredith goes, well, we should finish it so it looks like decent. And I'm like, all right. So like drywall is like what, $1,000? Like everything's $1,000. So I'm like, okay, $1,000. Yeah, we can finish it. So then we got a contractor in to like look at it because he quoted $13,000.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? He's like, well, you're going to need electrical, drywall, like I guess framing, doors.
Yeah.
We didn't put in a bathroom down there, but like it was a lot.
Well,
and it took like a
basically-
month for them to finish it.
because you don't want to put drywall up. Like you would want to, we wanted to pull, he's like, you want to go ahead and pull electrical down because like you don't want to put drywall up. And then if you guys want to finish this into a like bedroom, like media room, if you want it to be anything other than a gym, you'll have to like tear down your drywall to pull the electrical. It makes no sense.
And then we wanted the ceilings painted without getting them finished. We had seen something, somebody recommended that, and we saw it online, and we're like, that's definitely cool because it adds ceiling height as well.
Yeah.
Without, finishing the ceiling. So then we painted it, like got it spray painted blue, which was really expensive. Thankfully, Meredith did all the wall painting. So that saved us a lot of money.
Well, it was supposed to be both of us. And then
I discovered I've never painted, and it's not as easy as it looks.
Well, no, you didn't discover that you knew you had never painted, but it was one of those things you're like, well, how hard can this be? Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, we'll just roll the primer on. And I think you used like half a bucket of primer in maybe like 20 square feet of wall. It was insane.
I didn't want to miss a spot.
Yeah. So Alex,
and ruin the roller. It was deformed after, right?
she was pressing so hard. It was like conical. So Alex got retired from painting after the priming was done. But it was good. I got to listen to an audiobook and do all that fun stuff.
Yep. So anyways, it's worth it, I guess. It's all done now.
Yeah. I would say
it's
worth
like an investment into our house. It's not like we're just throwing money down the drain. It's like it increases the value of the house.
Yes. As does the air conditioning that we're going to buy. Right?
This isn't my life. We should get this. How much is that? I don't know, like a couple grand. We should also get this. How much is that?
I don't know, a couple grand. That's how it goes.
That's what being an adult is, apparently. Just
everything with a house is $1,000.
Yeah. Like if it's less than 500, you're like, basically that was free.
Yeah. You're like, oh my gosh, it's only $250 to replace the ice maker. What a deal. That's basically free.
A funny story, when we first moved into the house, like the first night, we like settled down for bed, turned all the lights out, got in bed, and I was like, what is that sound?
So Alex is like the most sensitive person to sound that I've ever met. It's not uncommon when we travel places that we will have to relocate hotel rooms at least once when we get there, because there's a sound or there's something outside the window that looks like it might make a sound. And she wears earplugs. They was like, well, why doesn't she wear earplugs? She does wear earplugs.
They only block out 33 decibels.
That's like a lot of decibels. That's more decibels than the house will make. But anyways.
But if I know there's a sound and I put the earplugs in, I can fabricate that same sound with the earplugs in.
Mm-hmm. So you hear it.
So it's basically like, it's basically like just hearing it without earplugs.
Because you've already heard it.
Yeah.
So there can't be a sound, period.
No, it has to be perfectly silent.
Yeah.
Before I put earplugs in.
So our HVAC, our heat blows a little bit on the loud side. It's
very forceful.
It is very forceful, especially in the master bedroom. It seems like it doesn't bother me, but I see how it could bother Alex. And so that was a whole thing. And like, of course I'm panicking because Alex is panicking. Because it's not that the sound bothers me, but Alex bothered by sound bothers me. That is a real problem for Meredith.
So right now we're trying to figure out a solution to reduce the sound of the air coming through the vents.
Yes.
It sounds ridiculous, but it's who I am.
The solution right now is the heat gets turned off at nighttime.
Yeah, which makes for a cold night.
But we sleep really well.
Yeah.
That's all good. What else? Alex may or may not have to pull out of the competitive season because she is a big idiot and busted her face skiing. It's like you get to a certain age, and I think that age is around 30, where you see the jumps off to the side of the ski slope and you just go, no, that's not for me anymore. But Alex, I guess you were starting to get a little cocky with your abilities.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, at Sunshine in Lake Louise, which is where we primarily ski, like there's a lot of cat tracks. So off the side of the cat tracks, there's usually little like roots in between trees. Roots as in like
Pats.
Routes.
Yes, Alex. I
Not
know.
like roots, because there could be roots, but they're snowy. But
Roots
because
as
of
in like trees?
because
or-
of the tree roots, they'll be like up and down. And so like I learned early on in the ski season like not to go in those, because they really like toss you around. And like I almost fell on, I think, that first day.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna like do that silly stuff anymore. But yeah, I was starting to get like my legs under me this year, and I was like, I could, going off jumps is fun. So I ended up going off this jump off the side, and like in the air, I'm like, sweet. And then I landed, and I don't know, my skis tips crossed or my skis bumped together. Like I went down so hard, like winded myself face first. Like it was a really unpleasant experience. And hurt my shoulder, but it's not torn. It's just taking a long time to heal.
Basically a week of Alex convincing herself that she was going to need shoulder surgery. And then it's fine. It's just like very badly bruised or whatever. But anyways, it does bring the competition season a bit into question. It's not in question for me because I'm not doing it. But Alex was our sole hope in the Parker Root household for a competitive CrossFit this year.
But like, why compete in the open for me right now, even anyways? Like, that's what I've been thinking.
You're like getting to the point where I am.
But like this year, it's very unlikely that they're going to be able to hold in-person events. And if they do, they're unlikely to be safe. Mm-hmm. So like, yeah, maybe there's going to be events in Texas. Like, do I want to go to Texas to compete in an event? No. Not when I don't have the vaccine, not when COVID is running rampant in the US.
Yeah.
So like why put myself through the pressure of doing these online competitions when they're not going to you don't gain anything from them.
Yeah. And it's like I'm going to say we, but yeah, we're kind of the same in this. Like there's also a good chance that so we know that the open and the quarterfinals are online. Like it's not out of the question for the semifinals to also be online. And like, we're just not online athletes. Like that's not the environment in which we thrive. Like you probably more so than me, but definitely like I do better in person. Like I like to compete against people who I can see. Like you can make adjustments to what you're doing based on, what your competition is doing. It's usually they're higher skill workouts. There's something that like events bottleneck through that just knock people out. Open type workouts, it just tends to be kind of like who can suffer the most, who's really, really good at that high output kind of like short to medium time domain, which is just like, I don't move fast enough for that. And you're kind of the same. It's not fun. It's like, it's always been a means to an end.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like competing, but I like the part of the thing I like about competition is the environment. Being around people, like the friendships, the camaraderie, the competition, like traveling, having your people support you, like doing competitions in the privacy of my home or my gym. I'm just like, I don't judge anybody who likes doing that. It's still competing, but it's not what I like about competing.
Yeah.
I like testing myself against others, but not in that capacity. And maybe that is because the motivation isn't there, or the way that they test is not good for me. Like there's not going to be any running. There's not going to be any rope climbs. Like some of the stuff that I'm better at, like higher skill movements.
Well, I think there's always that part of like regionals and in-person competition that is just totally lacking in online. And that's like, you have to be able to perform when it matters. Like online, if you have a bad start to a workout, you can just pull the plug, start over. You can repeat it. You have all of these opportunities to game the system in the workout, which is, I really like that part of competition where it's 3, 2, 1, go, and this is your only opportunity. Like if you mess up, it's about how well can you adjust to that on the floor. Like how well can you control your mentality when you have a couple of no reps, or like things aren't going your way in the moment. Like, can you adjust in the moment? I think that's a difficult thing to test online. Like, it's always, online competition has been a part of the sport since 2011, I think. That's when the first Open was. So it's not going away, but it's difficult when that's kind of like, due to circumstances that are outside of our control, kind of the only opportunity to compete at the moment. So yeah, we'll see. I thought it was neat. There was that qualifier last year that was on a running clock, and I thought that was pretty kind of a clever way to accomplish that goal. What was that?
People can do it like piecemeal, like the Open.
Yeah, what was that? It was lowlands, wasn't it?
Yeah, you had to do it at a specific time. Yeah.
But it didn't allow you, there wasn't enough time to repeat, and it's like...
It had to be completed in a window.
Yeah.
Of time. I don't think it was a running clock. It was like a window.
Like a window. But that's kind of how phase 1 of the games went this year, which I think is an interesting way to do it. We'll see if they can roll that out.
Yeah, for me, like the place where I'm at with wanting to grow the business and like put my mental energy elsewhere, when the reward for me is competing in person isn't there.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to win the semifinals or the quarterfinals. Like I'm not going to get to the games. Like it's unlikely in that scenario. So like as sad as it sounds, like why try? Like maybe I could if I put all my mental and like physical energy towards that, but I don't really have that. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's difficult to put even like 75% of your energy towards it.
Yeah.
Like it's
like I don't do CrossFit to make it to the games. I do it because I like competing and certain competitions and being able to go to Miami in February and compete with all my friends and like go to regionals and again like have that experience. I don't do it to get to the games. If I'm doing it strictly to get to the games, then yeah, maybe I would invest 100% of my time and energy in this online portion, but that's not why I do it.
Yeah.
So part of me is like, well, then why do it? Anyways, something to think about for me in the next couple months or 6 weeks.
Like decisions aren't made yet, but decisions will.
But that's always been like for both of us, like, okay, well, and that's always been the way that I've approached everything in my life. It's like, hey, what is this worth my time and energy?
Yeah.
Like, yes, there's a point where you want to follow your passion, but you also have to like figure out, okay, where's this going to put me in 2 years or 5 years or 10 years?
Yes.
Like what is the return on this?
Yeah.
And I don't think everybody thinks like that, but I certainly do.
Yeah, I think I do. Well, I always have because it's just that's how I'm not even gonna say that's how I was raised. It's just been a priority. Like my future has been a priority for me for a long time. And even when I quit, my like engineering job to quote unquote do CrossFit full time, whatever that means. I was really coaching more than I was doing CrossFit, but that was always on a timeline because I was like, hey, I'm never going to be somebody that makes a lot of money doing this. If I make any money at all, I'm going to do it because I really like to do it. I'm in good shape now. I have saved up like enough money to like pad myself for a year and a half. And then I'm going to figure out what the hell I'm doing with my life. And turns out you can kind of do both. Like for a long time, at least like 2017, 2018, I was doing what I'm doing now. I didn't own the business, but I was doing it, training. And that's the year that I went to the games. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, we're both doing it, me a little more recreationally than you, just time spent. But like, it can be something that you enjoy doing in your free time while also kind of like pursuing other areas.
But I don't think you can do it to the level, like the games athlete level anymore.
Oh no.
It's too competitive and it requires too much time and energy.
Yeah.
And like, so if I said, okay, I'm going to take my 2 hours or 3 hours per day of training and push it to 5 and include recovery and stretching and a warm up and a cool down, which I don't do any of that because I'm like, I don't have time. Those additional 2.5 hours per day, I'm basically allocating from my business and from my job to training. But I'm getting no return from that training, or it's unlikely I'm going to get a return from that, except for maybe like getting a few more muscle ups, like getting a little faster, placing a little bit higher in the open. Like, I don't think that's enough time allocated to get me to that next level, which is the games.
Yes.
Or like doing well at the games, well enough to make money or make it worth it.
Yeah.
Whereas if I put 2 hours per day, 2.5 hours per day towards my business, okay, now we're talking about return.
Yes.
So that's the way I think.
Yeah. And it's what brings you like joy too.
Yeah.
Like
and I get just as much joy out of 2.5 hours of training than I would out of 5 hours.
Yeah. So you check the box, really enjoyed training, and you get to continue building this thing that you love and brings a lot of like fulfillment in another area.
Totally.
But, that's us. It's different for everybody. But that's kind of, yeah, that's where people always ask like, oh, are you competing this year? I'm like, well, what does that mean? Like, I could do the open, but no, I'm not. Like, I had no expectations that I'm going to compete.
I think that means like, are you going to try to get to the games?
Yeah.
Which I wanted to when the season was going to kind of go back to the regionals type format.
Yes.
But now I'm like, well, that's probably not going to happen. So
yeah, I think like
wait a year.
I am excited. Like, I think this format is great. I'm excited to see it play out in the long term. Like, as in probably not this coming year, but next year. I think once COVID dies down and people can really, like, we can have events like we used to, that kind of thing. I think it's a great way to merge the two systems. I really was hoping that like regionals would come back, but I get that they can't just like hose sanctional event owners like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. But
well, one thing we've been doing with our spare time is getting out and skating.
Oh, yes.
Meredith got new skates. And we, like, my family, my dad grew up playing hockey. My mom's a decent skater. I grew up skiing and skating and playing shinny, so I'm a decent skater. And Meredith, like, we were assuming the worst.
Okay, but
like
can
the
I just
worst. Like, we're like,
first?
We're going to need to get one of those, like, red, like, cages for her to like lean on to learn how to like push off of her skates.
And this is like, I'm gonna pause you right there. I have told both you and your mom and your family on several occasions leading up to this point that I have skated before.
You also said you skied before.
Yeah, so I have.
Yeah, okay.
But anyways, I was like, I can skate, it's fine. And like they couldn't believe that I could actually skate. And I would say like me and your mom are kind of similar on skates.
Yeah, you both can't stop.
Yeah. We're getting there though. But that's been kind of fun. So we have a like an ice skating rink in our neighborhood, which is very convenient. I mean, there's tons all over Calgary, but it's extra convenient to have one 4 minutes from where you live. Our neighbors have one in their backyard, but we haven't we don't know them well enough to go over there yet.
Hi, we're your 30-year-old neighbors. Can we use your skating rink?
Also, we're gay. But I noticed your daughter's playing hockey too, so maybe we can help her with that.
We can get back on that topic after. That's an interesting topic.
What's that?
Well, when we introduced ourselves to our neighbors, we saw her, the wife. There's a couple and it's a family. And afterwards, like part of me still has this like this self-consciousness.
You're self-conscious
of being gay.
Yeah.
And when we move into like a typical, like, I don't know, neighborhood, I don't know a better word for typical. Just like,
I mean, we're in the suburbs.
It is a suburb. Like, and so when we meet like with a normal family, which is such a bad word.
Yeah.
But a family, like a husband and wife, and it's like, oh, hi, I'm Alex. Hi, I'm Meredith. Like, okay, so you're gay. Like, it's like obvious. So like, do they go back and they're like, I met the neighbors.
Yeah, so they're nice. They're gay.
Like it comes up. I imagine so. Mm-hmm. Like, do they care? Maybe. Do they not care? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, is there anything I can do about it? No. But still, part of me questions, like, there's this like a little bit of shame still attached to it.
I think it's I don't have a lot of shame. I get annoyed sometimes that like it's just something that
it's a thing.
Well, it's going to be a thing forever. Like
yeah.
I was having a conversation with a client earlier, Tom, about same-sex couples having kids. And it's like when you get to a point where you're like, you as a same-sex couple want to have a child, it can become annoying just to have straight friends who are having kids. Because it's like, they obviously have to try, like they have to do something, but it's pales in comparison to the effort that same-sex couples have to go through to have a kid.
Yeah, the majority of.
Yeah.
Although, yeah, even if you struggle to get pregnant as a straight couple, you don't need to find a sperm donor.
And you're not having to pay $10,000 every single time you try.
Yeah.
Like, imagine that.
Well, some people do.
Yeah, some.
Yeah, but not everybody.
You don't have to pay for the sperm. But anyway, so that conversation kind of went into like, it's easy in those moments. And sometimes I get frustrated and annoyed by the fact that like, you kind of understand it's never like, you're never going to be done coming out to people. Like your neighbors, like, you know, when people come over to do work on the house, it's like they walk in and there's 2 girls and only 1 bedroom.
Yeah.
Like,
and you want to be
furnished.
like, all right, we're gay.
Yeah.
It's almost like that. It's like, okay, every time you show them the bedroom or like they walk around the house or the 2 of us show up and like, you know, like.
Or you check into a hotel and they're like.
It's basically like saying, yeah, I'm gay, which sucks.
Would you like to have 2 queen beds? And
yeah.
It's like, no, we would like to have 1 king bed.
Yeah.
So the frustration I think is. It just has to be managed.
We went to Vegas for my birthday one year. It was the year that I was called to the bar. We went for my birthday to Vegas, and we went to a show. It was like a comedy circus show. It's called Absinthe. If you've seen it, it's awesome. Anyways, I didn't realize that they do like, I guess it's live comedy. They have like a host that kind of does a live show. And we didn't have the greatest seats, and we were there kind of early, and we were.
But
like
it's a very
sitting,
small. It's in a tent.
It's
still a very small venue.
Yeah, it is a very small. It's very intimate. So we're sitting kind of near the back, and this guy comes up and he goes, "We have 2 seats at the front, like right front row, if you want. But there's one like caveat is the first scene you have to get up, and they're gonna take your chair from you to use in the scene." No, Meredith and I were kind of, Meredith's like, yeah, of course. I was like, I don't know. It's too good to be true. I just don't know. I don't know. And Meredith's like, oh, come on. So we're like, okay, fine. So we like walk up front row, like literally 5 meters from the stage.
Not even like 5.
3 meters.
It was like 5 feet.
Yeah. At one point they basically say like, you have to like.
Do not sit up.
Yeah. Do not sit up because
There's like something spinning and it was like going to hit you in the face.
No, it was a human being. Another guy was spinning a human being. They on rollerblades.
That's right.
Anyways, we were the.
Well, so they did the first act or whatever. And they like, okay, I had to get up. They used my chair as this guy stacking furniture and climbing up. It was really fantastic. And then we realized the real reason why they sat us up front. And it's because they put the people who they're going to use as part of the comedy show right in the front. So it was like...
And we were the token lesbians.
We were the lesbian couple. And it was like probably the most vulgar lesbian jokes that I've ever heard in my whole life. And they were directed at me. Like I could have melted into the floor.
Like we were laughing, but also like trying not to cry.
But on the bright side was like they had us. There was like... You know, right to our left, there was like a whole group of Asians and he was making, you know, very
stereotypical jokes.
And then there was like conservative white group. There was like husband and wife, and the guy was making fun about her husband was probably gay. Like, it's a really good show. It just made me want to die.
Yeah. But anyways, that's kind of, I guess, yeah, it reminded me of that, our conversation.
Yeah.
But
that was a good story. Yeah, so
it was actually good. I feel like we provided some good material for them because Meredith was wearing a tank top, so her guns were out, and then I was wearing like
a cardigan. I was like, oh my God, I would repeat the jokes. we can't because no, you can use your imagination. Yeah, good times. We should go back.
Yeah.
See if we get called up again. I bet we do.
Probably.
So we are so if you followed along around the New Year's, like we did our Advent calendar challenge. We got some new people going with coaching right at the turn of the new year, which we usually do. I think if you run a nutrition company and you don't get busy on January 1st, you should consider what you're doing. So anyways, we always talk around this time of year, like what happens, like how do people's New Year's resolutions pan out? Like these people who set these big goals. And so we were kind of talking the other day, like what makes some people more successful than others? Like in general, I was looking at a picture of one of our clients in Sweden who competes and just thinking like, you know, this guy does everything perfectly every single day and obviously is a phenomenal athlete. So like what makes him different than somebody else? Or what makes somebody who even is trying to lose 20 pounds? What makes somebody successful in that and not successful? Somebody else not successful in that?
I think it comes down to your like values and priorities.
What do you mean?
Well, if like everyone is obviously capable of doing like eating healthy or going to bed at a certain time. I mean, maybe notwithstanding kids.
Like even with kids, you can train them to go to bed at a reasonable time.
Yeah. Everyone is capable of doing the basics.
Yeah.
It's just like, do you actually want to? Like, do you actually value
Yeah.
those behaviors and what they will materialize in?
Mm-hmm. I think it's the people who are successful in whatever, whether it's like competing in a sport, and I'm not going to say successful as in they're winning. I mean, successful as in they're meeting their potential as a human being and what they're trying to do, or successful with weight loss or changing habits. It's the people who do the hard thing more often than they do the easy thing.
Yeah, but wouldn't that come down to values?
Yeah. But it's also like, even like there's a moment that you make a decision. But I think a lot of people get discouraged because what they see is, you know, what is actually hard to them, they don't see as hard. So it's easy for someone like, just take CrossFit, because CrossFit's a very linear like organization. You can be someone who is a CrossFitter who's like very beginner, and maybe you're doing CrossFit to lose weight. I don't know. And maybe you follow or idolize people who do it as a sport. So you think, me, beginner CrossFitter, like what I'm doing isn't hard, because look at what Matt Fraser's doing, or look at what, you know, Katrin's doing. I'm not doing anything hard, but it's hard to them because it's relative. So people discount like the difficulty of what they're doing. So like what's hard for somebody who's like, let's just take, you know, someone who's maybe in university, the hard thing for that person might be going to bed at 9:30 instead of going to bed at 12:30. But they don't always see that as hard, or they don't recognize that as a thing that deserves any attention. I'm trying to think of other examples. You know,
So to be successful, first you have to recognize that it's hard in order to put the necessary attention towards it,
or at least respect that, you know, what seems easy, you might be like discounting how difficult
objectively
it's actually
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like going to bed early sounds like the easiest thing in the world. And it's something that like we don't really even think about, because eventually the hard thing becomes easy because you do it all the time, and then it just becomes part of who you are. So like I don't have to think about going to bed at 9:30. Like I just go to bed at 9:30.
Unless you're watching a really good show.
Yeah, but that's pretty rare. It's rare that we get to 9:30 and it's not like, oh, okay, we should go to bed.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't have to think about that thing. But someone who like habitually goes to bed at 12:30 or 1 a.m., like they're going to have to try really hard to do that.
It would be like telling us to go to bed at 6:30. Be like, that's hard.
It's like daylight.
But like, I don't know, maybe a granny who goes to bed at 6:30 is like, that's easy.
I think grannies actually stay up really late.
They do. they eat dinner at 4:30.
Yeah. And then they stay up watching shows until like 1 a.m.
My grandma stays up pretty late.
Yeah.
Bad example. Sorry.
So I think when you get to 90, you can kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I've completely lost my train of thought. But I think it does.
I'm thinking about my grandma. And I'm like, she does that.
Yeah, me too. But she's dead. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Just kidding. She's not dead, or
no, she is dead.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not crying about that. Yeah, it's so like behaviors that I'm trying. Like I think about. Why are you laughing at me?
Such a bad joke.
I don't know. I'm kind of interested to hear how it comes across on the audio.
Okay.
I think it could be good. Don't discount that.
There are so many times during these podcasts where I'm like, I shouldn't have said that, but then it goes up anyways. So
yeah, we should.
Don't judge
that.
too hard.
No, we do think about taking things down, and then I just don't feel like editing it. Yeah. So, recognizing that even small behaviors take effort to change. For a good example is, all of these gyms are closing because of COVID. Like they're having to shut down. They're in Canada a little more than the US, but there are still gyms in the US who are shut down. And elite athletes aside, because you have like elite athletes, people who are training for the games, like they do require a certain level of equipment. You don't need to go to a gym to get a workout. And I think people are like, it might be harder for you to get a workout or decide to get a workout outside of a gym, but it's not impossible. So that's something that I'm seeing happen a lot. And we got people who came to Tactic because they just couldn't figure it out. They needed help with that. So that's one of those things where in that moment, it's important to sort of step back and realize that what it is that you value about the gym probably isn't the workout as much as it's the community and the people. So, but you probably like, maybe these people still value, I don't know, maybe they don't value workout, I don't know. But if you do, like, get creative and work out, and then find another outlet for that, for social connection, whether it's Zoom or FaceTime. But too many people, I think, just really kind of let them, like, they threw in the towel when these gyms started closing down because, like, oh, I can't work out. Oh, no, you can. It's just going to be a little weird, a little bit harder. It's not going to be what you're used to. But it's not impossible.
Yep.
I mean, even here where it's, like, frigid, you can get on a bike. Outside, you can go for a walk. You can go for a run. You can go for a hike. You can go for a ski. Like, those options are still available. Priorities, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think recognizing that it's a little harder is a good thing because it's like, hey, it's going to be a little harder, but I'm still going to do it. I still have the choice of doing it or not. Like, yeah, I don't have my friends to cheer me on. I don't have a specific time where the coach is going to call me over to get warmed up. But, like, I can still do it in my own home. Still do burpees. I can still go for a run. I can still use whatever equipment. Like, we were talking about this at dinner the other night. It's like, if I didn't have my home gym, like, I would still be working out. I would be, like my mom said, you could grab, like, a bag of rice. Like, those bags of rice are, like, 50 pounds.
Yeah, just, like, bear hug it, do some squats. Yeah. Your back will be wrecked.
You could get some good workouts in with a big bag of rice.
Yeah. But it's that whole, like, the dialogue of, like, oh, I can't do that. I hate that word.
Or I'm not motivated, so you just don't do it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can still do it.
You're not going to be...
I think sometimes in the moment, it's just reminding yourself, like, okay, I still have I can still make this decision to do it. And I can... And, like, or even asking yourself, like, why did I do it? Why am I considering doing it or not doing it? It's like, well, what does exercise bring me? Go back to your why.
Yeah. And it's like, if you're exercising because you like to spend time with your friends, then you probably need to figure out ways to spend time with your friends and, like, don't spend so much time trying to figure out how to exercise. But if you exercise because you like the way it makes you feel and you need a physical outlet, then, like, go find a physical outlet. Like,
yeah. But also exercising is good even if you don't enjoy it. So finding a way to do exercise with friends, like on Zoom or something, is also, there's also, ways to just get it done. There's ways to make it easier.
Yeah. Do you care if you exercise with friends?
No, I prefer to exercise on my own anyways.
Yes. Yeah, but the whole, like, I can't, when someone says that they can't do something, it's not that they, like, you have to think about what those words mean. Like, you cannot. There's no possible way that you can do this thing. Like, there is. It's that it's not important enough. It's not important enough to do. Like, people who, I can't get up early to exercise. Well, no, you can. You just don't want to. Or I can't log my food the day before. Well, you can. You just don't want to. It's that example, right? Like, you take someone who, they're like, well, I really want to work out. I really want to work out in the morning. I just can't get up early. And it's like, all right, Susie, if you get up every single morning for a month at 4:30, work out 5 a.m. to 6:30, I'll give you $100,000. What do you think Susie does?
She does it.
Why? Because it's worth it. Because now it's a priority.
I think people who want to work out, they more want to work out.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, it's exactly what I said it means. Like,
they want to be a person who wants to work out?
Yeah. That's it. Because that's what makes it easy.
Yes.
Like, they want to work out, but more than that, they want to work out.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to be a person who wants to clean. Because then cleaning becomes enjoyable.
Yeah.
And it gets done. But instead, I'm a person who doesn't really like cleaning, but I do it anyways because...
Yeah. Like, I want to be a person who wants to make lists. Because imagine how much easier my life would be if I made lists.
Yeah.
So
I think we've pinpointed it.
Yeah.
So how do you get people to want to do stuff they don't right now want to do?
Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but I have a little pad going in my office. So I realized like a struggle of mine is keeping track with non-routine things that I have to do. Appointments, miscellaneous administrative tasks with the business. And I don't like making like notes on my phone. I don't pay attention to them. Like, it's not how I use that app. But I also don't like the big planner that you have. And now that I have a desk that I sit at every day, I thought a really good way for me to start making a list would just be to get a little notepad, like I noticed your dad has in his office. And there's one thing per, like one notepad per day, and you circle the day of the week and you write the date and you say, these are my top 3 priorities and this is my to-do list and this is my agenda. And so I just started using that to make a daily list. Okay, what do I have to do that I don't normally have to do? And I'm not going to say like I do still leave some things unchecked.
And then they move to the next day.
But they always move to the next day.
Yeah, I guess that's better than forgetting them completely.
Yeah. And so that's me trying to become a person who wants to make a list. You just like, I'm doing it. It's not natural. It's not a thing that I like. I think about as soon as I wake up in the morning, like, oh my God, I can't wait to check my list to see what I have to do today. That's not me yet. But I do sit down at my desk every day and I look at that list and all the things that I did the day before. And then it makes me think, okay, what do I have to do today that I might forget if I don't write down?
So it sounds like you just made it easier to make a list. You found something that you would prefer to make a list on over anything else.
Yeah, a new system.
Like, if you parlay that over to working out, maybe somebody doesn't like working out in their basement or going to a gym, but maybe they like going out and biking. So they buy a bike and that's what they do instead. Like, maybe they still don't, like, it's not natural for them to hop on their bike every day, but it's a hell of a lot easier to get on their bike and do a 30-minute bike ride than it is to go down to their basement and do burpees.
Yeah. So it's about it's like maybe you need a new environment. And I think that's what the office and the desk and like that was for me, because I didn't really have that before. And then a very simple and easy to do system or thing. And who knows, like maybe that little like notepad list that I have turns into, a much more comprehensive list at some point. I don't know what your lists look like, but I feel like they're more substantial than mine.
I have lists for the whole day. Like, I have every day labeled.
Yeah.
So I have a list going, like, at the beginning of the week, it's like I've got the next few days already listed out, and things get added and
okay, but like I have a real question. Do you keep a list of things that I need to do?
Sometimes.
You have like a Meredith list?
No, it's on my list. It's kind of like it's like a reminder to remind you. So like when you were paying rent, it was like I had rent there, even though I don't pay rent.
Yeah.
It would be on my list to say, oh, I need to make sure Meredith pays rent.
Yeah. And you would always do that.
Yes, I would.
Yeah. And then you'd be like, hey, did you pay rent? And I'd be like, yeah, totally. I did that yesterday. And then I got to go to the bathroom. Pull it up on my phone. Yeah.
I
It's
knew it.
okay. We're
I
like,
knew it.
we all have our strengths, Alex. I have a lot of strength. I'm a creative in my
Yeah.
heart. I am. And what you'll learn about creatives is like
They can't actually do things
their
that
brains just don't work in the same way.
the right way, the productive way.
The same way.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I think when I think about how to prioritize what's actually important in my life, like there are non-negotiables. My non-negotiables are there's always going to be fitness. That's never going to go away. There's always going to be work because unfortunately that won't ever go away. But I like what I do.
Work is fun.
I like work. And then there's relationships. So there's like those are the three things that are most important to me at the moment, and I think they'll be most important to me always. So they always get a lot of bandwidth from me. And then things that are less important would be what are less important things? Other people. Yeah, I don't know, just like
Doing laundry,
no, 'cause
cleaning.
I do those things. But just kind of like things that take away.
Maybe like social activities.
Yeah.
They're important, but they're not like your top priority.
No, and I'm introverted, so I would probably rather sit in a closet than go socialize.
I mean, you're not that introverted.
I'm like right in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm extroverted until it's like someone flips a switch and then it's like time to go. If I don't get out of here, it's gonna get bad. You can talk to my sister about that. We used to be in social situations because she's like just a touch more extroverted than me. And we'd be in social situations and like I'd go from having a good time to being number one grumpus in like 15 seconds. I get very, very short.
Yeah, trust me, I know how that is.
Yeah. You do not.
I just don't go.
Or you ghost. You don't. It's not like you have to say goodbye.
Oh, I never
disappear.
used to say goodbye. Like at parties and stuff.
Yeah.
I'd just be like, I'm leaving.
I'm out. Oh man. Okay. How do we want to wrap this up? I think. So what's the date? It's like It's January
25th.
So there's a lot of like introspection that tends to happen at the end of the month, because people set these goals. 30 days, 31 days is not a lot of time I don't know what kind of goal you can achieve in 30 days. I know if you start with a penny and you double it every day, you end up with like $2 million. But who does that?
How is that at all
It just
related to what we're talking about?
Popped into my head because I was like, what's the best thing you could achieve in 30 days? You could double a penny.
Yeah, I think like New Year's resolutions are not meant to be January goals. They're supposed to be New Year goals, like new life, new you, new lifestyle.
But after like 30 days is that arbitrary kind of like,
yeah,
hey.
like whatever. Yeah, I get your point. Whatever point you're at now after 25 days of doing whatever you're doing. And let's be honest, it's probably only 21 days because no one started before that Monday, the 4th.
No.
21 days, you're not really, like, no matter what you're doing, you're not actually going to see a huge change in anything.
Yeah.
And if you do, then you should probably take a hard look at what you're doing because it's probably not sustainable.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep going, I guess is what we're saying. And if you feel like you're losing steam, reach out to friends or us or get somebody to keep you accountable, get you back on track, and find something that's going to actually stick.
Yeah. Put a better support system in place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's kind of the big thing. I mean, for me, like right at the first of the year, well, like the 4th, that's when I started getting up at like 6:00 on our work days. And man, that was so bad to start. Like, what am I doing? And now it feels really weird to sleep past like 7. Like it's like, oh, okay, now I just get up at 6 and it's fine. And I actually am way more productive and feel way, way better about our days. So it's like, that's an easy one. I think adjusting your sleep schedule, at least for somebody like me, like that was easy. And like, I'll be really honest. It's been a long time since I've changed a behavior of mine. Like, not to get sappy and like weird here, but like I've been set in my ways because like my ways are good and they serve me well. It's been a long time since I've had to like take my own medicine and try to change something about my life. And like, damn it, I'm proud. Like, I'm like really stoked on that particular behavior, because it not only does it literally like it puts more time in my day, which is something that I've been complaining about for a while, but it really like it changes the way that I feel about myself. Like, I'm a person that gets up at 6.
You know what's funny is before this month, I can count on one finger how many times you've gotten out of bed before me. And that was, I don't remember where it was. I think it was back in North Carolina, like back when I was like visiting you.
Yeah.
And I remember waking up and being like, I was worried because I'm like, what is she doing awake? And you've probably gotten up on more than I can count on.
Most days I'm up before you now.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
I mean,
like at least 5 times you've gotten out of bed before me.
yeah.
So,
but it's like, it's crazy how a little, like a
that just goes to show the gravity of the change.
It's a big change.
It is.
But it's like, it's a small change, and it goes to show you how like one small change like that can change how you feel about yourself. It can change your whole day.
Yeah.
And it does. It's been doing that for me. And like, I didn't know that could happen to me again. I didn't know. I just thought that I was going to get up at 6 because it was a necessity, and I was going to get more, stuff done, and that was going to be it. But it's like, it's actually, I'm like, oh, I'm a person who gets up early now. So it's cool. Like, I think it's great to feel that stuff. And I think it's, when you can make changes like that, it makes me want to make other changes. I don't know what they are, but anywho, well, that's it. Let's wrap it up. Thank you for listening. As always, we know it's been a while since we put out an episode, but
that was a bit of a random one.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what I'm going to title this.
A lot of different topics, but we needed to catch up on a few things to bring you up to speed for anybody who cares.
Yeah. So we'll keep doing this. If you guys have any topics that you want to hear about, nutrition, CrossFit, coaching, whatever, send us a DM on Tactic or our personal or email, whatever, and we will get you on the list for the upcoming episodes. Talk to you soon.